A $12 watch and a $500,000 watch are doing the exact same job, telling you the time. One will get thrown in a drawer when the battery dies. The other will be worn by your grandkid's grandkid 100 years from now. The Swiss figured something out about 50 years ago. Stop competing on function. Start competing on meaning. That one decision built the entire luxury watch industry you see today. 7 levels. From the watch nobody takes seriously to the ones that sell at auction for more than a house. Let's get into it. Level 1, the fashion watch, $50 to $500. Fossil, Daniel Wellington, MVMT, Michael Kors. This is where most people start, and where a lot of people stay longer than they should. The fashion watch is an accessory, not a watch. The movement inside, the mechanical heart, costs the brand between $2 and $8. Everything else you're paying for is the case, the strap, and the logo. Daniel Wellington was founded in 2011. The heritage branding is a marketing decision, not a history. The watch is months old. The story is fiction. That's fine if you know what you're buying. It's not fine when you think you bought a watch and actually bought a prop. Who's here? The 22-year-old in his first real job who wants something on his wrist that doesn't look bad in meetings. He'll wear it 2 years. Then he'll discover level 2 and feel the specific embarrassment of realizing he bought a story instead of a watch. Someone's going to say their MMT gets compliments every day. It probably does. Compliments aren't the same as respect in the watch world. We'll get to why. Level 2, the real entry point. $200 to $1,500. Seiko, Tissot, Hamilton, Citizen. This is where the watch world actually starts. Seiko has been making movements since 1881. Their discontinued SKX007 diver now sells used for more than its original retail price, because collectors know what's inside it. A real automatic movement, powered by your wrist, no battery. A sweeping seconds hand. Flip it over and watch the movement run through a display caseback. The Tissot PRX, the Hamilton Cocky Field, the Seiko Presage. Collectors own these alongside pieces worth 10 times as much because the respect is real. The economics also shift here. A $400 Seiko is worth $300 in 5 years. A $400 Daniel Wellington is worth $40. Same starting price. Completely different logic. Who's here? The guy who watched one watch video 6 months ago and hasn't stopped since. He bought a Seiko Presage. His regular friends think it looks fine. His watch friends nodded. That nod meant more than he expected. The Seiko versus Casio debate starts now. I'll be watching. Level 3, Swiss entry. Status begins. $5,100 to $10,000. Longines, Tag Heuer, Oris, Frederic Constant. This is where buying a watch becomes a decision, not a purchase. Longines has been making watches since 1832. Oris has been independent since 1904. At this price point, you get KOSK certification, independently tested accuracy within 4 + 6 seconds per day. You get sapphire crystal that won't scratch from daily life. You get dial finishing, sunburst guichoche, that looks different every time the light changes. A Longines Master Collection sits differently on a wrist than anything at levels 1 or 2. The weight, the presence. People who know watches know you made a considered choice. Who's here? The guy who just got promoted and decided it was finally time to own something real. He researched for 4 months. He knows his reference number. He will tell you his power reserve whether you asked or not. Someone's going to say Tag Heuer is overpriced for the mechanics. They're right. People still buy them. Both things are true, and that tension is exactly how the watch industry works. Level 4, the Rolex threshold. $8,000 to $30,000. Rolex, Tudor, IWC, Breitling, Cartier. This is the level the whole world recognizes. Even people who know nothing about watches know this level. The Submariner, the Datejust, the GMT Master 2. Not just watches, the cultural shorthand for success in almost every country on Earth. A Rolex on a wrist communicates one thing instantly. This person arrived somewhere. Steel Submariner retails at $10,500. What you actually pay at a dealer is $15,000 to $20,000 because Rolex produces fewer watches than the market wants. The waitlist is engineered. The scarcity is deliberate, and it works because the watch has been desirable long enough that the desirability feeds itself. This is also not just a logo. Rolex certifies their movements to a tighter standard than Coase requires. The steel alloy is proprietary. The ceramic bezels are made in-house. The value proposition is real. Who's here? The founder who put it on the week after the deal closed. He's not going to tell you that's why he bought it. But it is. Someone's going to say Rolex is overrated and you get better mechanics elsewhere at this price. Mechanically, correct. That's not what a Rolex is selling, and everyone in this room knows it. Level 5, the collector's territory, $20,000 to $100,000. Audemars Piguet, Vacheron Constantin, Jaeger LeCoultre, A. Lang & Zinn. The conversation changes completely here. Nobody at level 5 is buying to signal success. Success is already assumed. They're buying because they have an actual opinion about what separates a watch worth owning from a watch worth wearing. Audemars Piguet's Royal Oak was designed in 1972 by Gerald Genta in one night, on a dare. A sports watch in stainless steel that cost as much as a gold dress watch. It shouldn't have worked. It changed the industry permanently. A steel Royal Oak today retails around $30,000. Good luck buying one. A. Lang & Zern from Germany, not Swiss, finishes movements by hand to a standard serious collectors argue is better than anything Geneva produces. The Lang's one's outsized date is recognizable across a room. Price starts at $30,000. Who's here? The guy who owns 7 watches and still thinks about the ones he passed on. His wife stopped asking why he needs another one. He has a watchmaker he trusts more than his doctor. Someone's going to say AP is a fashion brand now because of the celebrities. That debate runs daily in the watch community and nobody's winning. Drop your side below. Level 6, Grand Complications, $100,000 to $500,000. Patek Philippe, FP Journe, Richard Mille, MB&F. At this level, the watch stops being about time. It becomes a mechanical argument for what human hands can build inside a case the width of a coin. A grand complication means multiple advanced functions in one movement, a perpetual calendar that knows the difference between February and March with no correction needed until 2100. A minute repeater, tiny hammers striking gongs to chime the exact time on demand. A tourbillon, a rotating cage that cancels the effect of gravity on accuracy, invented in 1801, still built by hand today. Patek Philippe's Grandmaster Chime has 20 complications. It took years to produce. A handful exist. Secondary market price, north of $5 million. Richard Mille is the other end of this level. Aerospace engineering meets horology. Carbon fiber cases. Movements built to survive impacts. Rafa Nadal wears an RM 1103 on court during matches. A $200,000 watch absorbing the force of a 130 mph forehand. On purpose. Who's here? The person who treats watches the way others treat art. As an asset class with real historical significance. He doesn't post his watch. He attends auctions in Geneva. He's on first-name terms with a PEC sales director. Richard Mille is hype and only rappers wear them. Someone's already typing this. You're not wrong and you're missing the engineering completely. Both things are true. Level 7, one of one. $500,000 to $30 million. Auction records, historical pieces, private commissions. Fewer than a few hundred people in the world operate at this level. And they are not who you'd expect. At level 7, a watch isn't a product. It's a singular object, one that has existed once in human history and will only ever exist once. The Patek Philippe Henry Graves Super Complication, commissioned in 1925, finished in 1933. 24 complications, including a celestial map of the New York night sky as seen from the owner's Fifth Avenue apartment, sold at Sotheby's Geneva in 2014 for $24 million. The Paul Newman Daytona, a Rolex reference 6239 given to Newman by his wife with "Drive Carefully Me" engraved on the caseback, mechanically identical to tens of thousands of others made that year. Sold at Phillips in 2017 for $17.75 million. The movement didn't make it valuable. The story did. At this level, there is no catalog, no reference number. Commissions are direct conversations with a manufacturer's CEO. 3 to 5 year timelines. One piece, one person. A watch that exists because one human wanted to own something that would outlast every other decision they ever made. Who's here? You don't know their name. 3 generations of wealth. They don't buy watches. They commission legacies. The watch started as a tool. Sailors used it to navigate. Soldiers used it to coordinate. Factories used it to run shifts. Then the phone made the tool obsolete, and the industry had to answer a harder question: what are we actually selling now? The answer was the only honest luxury answer: time that means something, not the hour, the permanence. A Patek movement will outlive every person watching this video by 2 centuries. A watch commissioned today gets handed to a great-grandchild who never met you, but knows something real about you from what you chose to put on your wrist. The guy with the $12 Casio and the guy with the $5 million Patek are counting the same seconds. One bought a tool. The other bought permanence. Every other industry sells you a product. The watch industry sells you time you can hold in your hand. Subscribe! I break down how things actually work, not how the brochure describes them. See you in the next one.